we're driving in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we're right on the highway, and the traffic is starting to slow down. It like slows down to like almost a crawl, and we're like, why is everybody stopping? Why is everybody stopping? And then we start to look and see where everybody's looking, and then we roll down our windows and we look out, and we just see like this. I mean, UFO.
It's Suga Snake Takes.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Good to see everybody here. Jake is taking this one outside in the cold weather for all sorts of fun reasons. Rashad's enjoying some Florida sunshine, maybe. I don't know if it's sunny down there right now.
It's
And
pretty sunny.
Mike is back as a brand new married man after some time off. Got the ring. He put a ring on it.
Put a
So
ring on it.
congrats.
That's right. Thank you.
You were down in Florida for that wedding, isn't that right?
Down in Sarasota, it was beautiful down there. Came back to all the changing colors on the trees, and now it's starting to feel like winter here in Colorado. So might be heading back to Florida here.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit chilly out, and this is kind of a special Halloween episode is what we're going to shoot for. Oh, look, where's Rashad?
Oh, thanks, Rashad. Appreciate that view.
Cool, bro.
The postcard
Oh,
view here. Yeah, where are
I can
you?
almost smell it.
I'm at this conference at the Diplomat.
In Florida?
Yeah, in Florida. Yeah, it's pretty
Wow.
Nice.
all right.
Dead.
Are you sweating? Are you sweating right now a little bit? Are you got a little just bit humid? Is it?
I got a little humus happening here.
Yeah, it's cold. My hands are dry. They're starting to crack. It's happening here in Colorado.
Man.
With this
Okay.
with this particular episode, we being on Halloween, we're thinking we want to kind of step into the paranormal and change it up a little bit, have a little bit of a different storyline to kind of talk about some just weird things. But with that being said, Snake, the fact that you're outside kind of on a freezing ass cold day, typically you wouldn't be there. It kind of has to do a little bit with the paranormal as far as you think one thing and then it happens. Why are you outside in the cold?
Whoa. Well, I mean, that's not really, I don't know if it's paranormal or more be careful what you think, and, not a synchronicity or anything like an intuitive type thing, but more of like the thoughts you put out definitely have power. I went to the dump this morning, and I drove into the dump and had to dump some trash and then some wood. And I'm like, yo, hope I don't hit a nail today. I don't want to hit a nail because there's always stuff. Drove over to the wood pile, backed in, got to walking up. And during the whole time that I went through my head about 4 times. Oh, I don't need to get a nail. What happened? I got 2 nails in my tire.
Oh man. Oh man.
Though I was able to make it home. Get gas because I was on E. Made it home, changed the tire, and now I'm here. I'm in the cold because our Wi-Fi's down at my place. So life just wants to throw these little funny things at me, and I just laugh it off and have fun and look forward to talking to you guys. So be careful what you're thinking, though. Like you think, oh, I don't want to hit my head, and bam, you're going to hit your head. It's happening. The universe is listening.
Well,
They're listening.
Yeah, pull those weeds out the mental garden, right?
Yes.
What's most interesting about that too is, then you want to start stepping into like karma. Wasn't it just yesterday, Jake, that you stopped and pulled over? I'm gonna boast for you, the kind of person that Jake the Snake Plummer is. Pulled over and helped a woman who had a flat tire on the side of the road, and you, Mike, and I were discussing the psychological event of what's it called? Bystander syndrome?
The
Bystanders.
effect. Yeah.
Yeah, where people just like, oh, someone else will help them. Someone else will help them. Someone else will help them. And then they never get help. Because,
I watched like 5 cars go around this lady sitting in the bike lane on a blanket, and her car had fallen off the jack, and people are they're going around her like, oh, get out of my way. driving around her. So I pulled over and helped. But you know what? I got good practice with my jack. I was like, I got the hang all figured out and figured out how to crank it really fast. So today I changed my tire, I think, in under 10 minutes. It was pretty impressive.
Dude,
That's
NASCAR.
really
Then
fast.
I drove off with the little thing dragging behind my car. I forgot to pull the little spare tire holder up. So I almost finished the job.
Maybe you've got a career in a NASCAR pit crew coming up, Jake.
I'd do it. It'd be fun to do it, but not a career. No, no thanks. I don't like the smell of gas and exhaust that much.
Yeah, pretty. You get a lot of that. All right, well let's chat about some paranormal stuff. And on this note, we'll start with Rashad. Um, you've told this story before. We've talked about this before we did this episode, but it's such a cool story. It's such an interesting story, and obviously the cast of characters is rad. So I'm sure you're to some degree tired of telling it, but it's interesting, and I be interesting to hear your take on the event you had back in the day, Rashad. Tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, this event took place around, I'll say, like around 2010. I'm in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I'm with GSP, Ali Abdelaziz, who's now like the manager of a lot of UFC fighters, and Mike Van Arsdale, and this guy Alejandro from Mexico. And we're driving in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we're right on the highway, and the traffic is starting to slow down. It like slows down to like almost a crawl, and we're like, why is everybody stopping? Why is everybody stopping? And then we start to look and see where everybody's looking, and then we roll down our windows and we look out, and we just see like this. I mean, UFO. Unidentified flying object, but it was just it really caught everybody's attention just because of the way it was moving. It just didn't. I mean, it was that typical UFO movement where it was like moving and then it like would stop and like defying gravity for a bit, and then it just stayed there for a second. And the light pattern was weird as well too. And as everybody's sitting there watching it, it then just like shot off, and I was like, "What? Did we just see that?" And the crazy thing about it is GSP is a big UFO believer and all that stuff, and he's absolutely scared. Like his number one thing is he's afraid to get abducted. He's like, I do not want to get abducted, my friend, and he's super afraid. So he was staying at Greg Jackson's house, and Greg Jackson had a thing where any new fighter came, they had to stay with him for a little bit for him to get to know him, and Greg had like one of those. I guess like a sky roof, where it's like a hole in his roof where you can see the sky, right? And GSP was so scared because he thought he was going to get sucked through that portal the whole night, and it was one of the crazy experiences because like when we seen it, we were like, no way, we just didn't see that, and everybody else seen it, but then it was on the news later on that night too. And it was like one of the freakiest things I ever seen because at that point I didn't really believe in UFOs and things like that. But when I seen that, I was just like, yo, New Mexico got some crazy stuff, man. I mean, there's Sandia Labs there. There's a lot of crazy activity out there. So you never know, man.
Yeah, that
Wow.
GSP was way ahead of his time then, huh?
Oh
When did
yeah.
that happen? That was like how long ago was that? Because now it's like UFOs are real. If you don't know
Oh,
that.
this is like in 2010, and he just maybe even earlier than that, but he just didn't even like I would have never even like I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was real. Like for me, I know what I seen that night, and I know what I seen was not any kind of flying object that I've ever seen here on Earth before, or ever seen in the commercial sky. So it was something. I don't know if they're testing out some new technology, but whatever it was. Never seen it, and I've never seen it again.
You guys should have
That's
climbed on the
legit.
roof and shined some flashlights through the skylight.
Yo, I mean, we should have, man. GSP, he was freaked out, man. He's like, My God, my friend, Matt, the whole night I was sitting there looking at the window, just I got no sleep. The next day he tells us that, and you know, he called all his friends from Canada. I was like, "Yo, there's a UFO here." David Loaza was supposed to come. Was supposed to come the following day, and he's warning Dave about there's UFOs out here, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, dude, you're crazy."
Uh,
Wow.
Oh, that's a lot of fun. I've never seen that. You know, what I did see for the first time this year elk hunting. Though I don't know if you've seen this, Rashad, but Starlink. Have you seen Starlink fly through the
Oh
sky?
yeah, I seen Starlink. Yeah, that's creepy in itself, especially when you don't even realize what it is. Like I had to Google it the first time I seen it. I'm just like, dude, what is that?
Oh
What did
yeah,
so,
it look like, Del?
so Dell, before you go in depth on that, if I could share
totally.
my night sky observance of a UFO type thing, that you'll understand why I cut you off here in a second. So I was floating in the Green River with Mina a couple years ago, our good friend Mina, and we got ahead of the raft, so we were way ahead and didn't have contact with the main guys, and it was a windy day. It was like actually paddling down the Green River because of the waves. So we got out of the river, and another two parts of this story here. One is the power of the mind and the belief in that, the mind is a powerful thing. What you say can happen. Mina dropped her phone getting out of the river, and she didn't know. She got to the shore. It's like, oh no, my phone. Is like, we're gonna find it. Don't worry. Oh, and I'm like, no, we're going to find it. We found her phone in the Green River. We walked up and down on the shore and found her phone because I said, and I told her, she's like, why do you think we'll find it? I said, because I already saw it in the river. I know where it's at. I'm going to find it for you. And so power of the mind, again, putting that thought out there. So fast forward, it's later in the night. I go down to set a little light out just in case the guys behind us came to join us. And I'm standing there and I start to walk back up and I look up in the sky and I was like, holy shit, Mina, look up, what is this? And there's these like 10 or 12 of this light going through the sky. There's these lights. I'm like, holy shit. I ran up there and she's like, oh my God, what is that? And we were tripping and then they just disappeared. And so the whole night we were stranded. We had no food. We had on like barely any clothes. It was cold. We were lucky we had a lighter. We got a fire started and we talked about what we saw that night. We had no clue. We're like, this is UFO. This flew above us with these lights. And we had all these theories of, did they see us looking at them and they saw us looking and so they know we're part of them? Or did they, what's going on? And we were tripping out like all night. Kind of slept through the night. It was cold as hell. Like I said, we had hardly any, like just pants and a t-shirt on. And so the next day the raft catches us and we start talking and we're like, oh God, we saw this crazy UFO last night. It went flying above the sky. And the guys with us were like, that was Starlink. Like, oh man, that totally crashed our vibe. We thought it was straight up UFOs taking pictures of people looking up in the sky. And it was like, oh man,
Man, they should have let you guys
Starlink.
have it. They should have let you guys have it, man.
Yeah, but anyway, that was my experience. And as you were going with it, Dell, I wanted to tell that before we went too far into Starlink.
Yeah, no, that's a great story. Sorry, I knew that story from the past. It's a good one because I knew that because I told you this year when I was looking up in the sky elk hunting and was like, what is that? And thankfully I was with our friend Matt Lindsay who was like, oh, that's Starlink. But it's
Yeah.
wild. We were sitting in a field looking at these stars and with zero light pollution. And I was already in awe of the amount of satellites I could see just from that compared to, boy, it feels like compared to like 5 years ago, 6
Yeah.
years ago, you look up like, oh my God, there's a satellite, check it out. And maybe where we're sitting, I'm like, every other freaking thing up there is a satellite. They were just zipping all around. It looked pretty polluted.
Congested.
Yeah, a little traffic up there. So
I did have one other occasion where I was sitting in the hot tub with the kids about 6 years ago, maybe. And then, and now as I'm saying, sitting in the hot tub with the kids, man, I got a pretty damn good life. I can sit during the day with my kids in the hot tub. Like that's pretty goddamn nice, man. I'm
Pretty damn
grateful,
nice, man.
forever grateful. But we're looking up in the sky and we see this little metal shiny thing hanging in the sky. And we're like, oh, it must be like a Mylar balloon floating up. balloons keep going. They get higher and higher and higher until you can't see them. This thing wasn't moving. It just stayed there. And if the sun was reflecting off of it, and we all saw it. Me, my boys, Colette, they all came out. We're looking up at this thing, and it's just hanging there in the sky. And it stayed there for probably 15 minutes and did not move. Still don't know what it is. But that was the only other time I've really seen like something concrete that I was like, that's something in the sky just sitting there. And it was not going higher or moving or anything. It was really weird. Definitely a UFO.
Chinese hot air balloon is what it was.
Spy balloon.
There you go, trying to Starlink my UFO now. You're trying to kill my other UFO experience.
No, hey,
Come
look,
on.
so Rose Namajunas posted something not too long ago where she got video of this thing just floating in the air, just like what you just said. Middle of the day, and you're kind of looking at like, I don't know what the hell that is. It's an unidentified flying object. That's what it is.
Yep, I got video of it too. I'd have to find that.
Oh, all right.
It's crazy, man.
Post that up.
Yeah, it's crazy now though. Like it's not too uncommon for people to have these sightings and seeing things now. I don't know. There's a lot of strange things happening in the sky right now. I was watching a video the other day on TikTok, and there was a plane that just like stuck in the air. And I know what you guys are thinking like, oh, it's just a little trick, but like there are many reports of like planes just being like stuck in
hovering,
the air.
just hovering there.
I saw the
just
same video. I saw that same
You
video.
seen it? What do you think about it? Is it real?
I think it was an optical illusion because of the speed that the other plane and the angle that was filming it was going just made it look like it wasn't moving. But I know what you're talking about because it moved around. But again, dude, AI video and how rapidly it's going to change, you won't be able to trust anything you see
Nothing
on the TV. And you shouldn't right now. Anything you see on the TV, don't trust that. That's a bad idea. Oh, yeah, here.
This is the Rose Namajunas video.
Yeah, what is that? Whoa.
Oh, yeah, that's why. At first it looked like a weird balloon, but then it did that.
Holy shit. Over here. Dude, it's like weird.
Whoa.
Bro, I think I'm capturing a fucking UFO, dude.
Yep. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
right. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Maybe these aliens are MMA fans coming after George, coming after Rose. I mean, that's the explanation, right?
It's gotta be. It's gotta be something, man.
There's a lot more. There's a lot more that's probably going to happen here in the next few years, for real, around that stuff. Just be prepared.
You guys, you lean aliens are real versus military experiments? You think it's actual extraterrestrials, or how do you actually, explain this stuff?
Mike, don't even get my conspiracy tongue flowing. I'll just say, I think it's probably just military aircraft. I think that, Germany in those days back in the Nazi times with Hitler, they were on to some technology that was pretty anti-gravity type of machine. So I think they probably improved upon that technology.
I think that I'm looking at 3 aliens right now, looking back at me on this screen. That the bunch of aliens somehow transmitted the knowledge from some wild place somewhere far, far away from here that portals into our brains, and we're just all aliens. Like we're extraterrestrials. We invaded this planet, and now we're here, and we're just like, I don't want to go into it. We're not treating her very nice.
I mean, what if they're beings, right? What if they're beings from outer space, like land that we don't know about, right? On extraterrestrials. What if we know? What if there's like a known world and then a world that we don't know about?
100%. That's where I'm going. I'm not gonna. pull away from the fact that, yeah, absolutely, there's real aliens. If
Yes.
you think that we are the only living being in this vast galaxy, you have no comprehension of the expansiveness of the universe. Your mind is so stuck on being here, and that this
You
is the
probably
be
have,
all, end all. No way.
yeah, you probably never left your house, and you probably just live in the same spot, or you've never expanded out very far from your box if you don't believe that the way you just said.
It's too
Or you're a flat
expansive.
earther. Or
Yeah.
you're a flat earther or something crazy like that.
It might be flat.
Aliens, dude.
That's
There's
why I want to
aliens.
fly. That's why I want to go to outer space and look back at Earth so I can actually see what we're floating on. Like to actually see it from way out there would make it real.
No, there's no desire to do that either. Like, I mean, this space exploration, the stuff that we have to understand here, going out in your backyard and looking at a square foot of soil and looking into that, you could spend a lifetime trying to understand what's happening there. You know, so there's so much to know here. To put money towards anything except for to save what we've got here right now, I think is pretty foolish in my
I
in my
think we'll go there. I think we'll go there when we pass on from this life, when our soul leaves this body we're in. It goes out to there. That's why near death experiences and psychedelic journeys, you find yourself floating in that void. It's space. We're just a star back in our ancestral landing spot for a while till we either send knowledge back to Earth or come back and embody another fleshy, bone filled body to come back to Earth with.
Yeah, love it, Jake. There's a new YouTube channel that I've been listening to before bed, and it's like near death experiences, and it's just people talking about their near death experiences, and it's brought me so much peace because it's like almost all of them are like just a incredible amount of love, a love that you've never felt in your life, and that's what is washing over all these people, and it's all so similar about what they say that it makes me feel there's got to be some truth. You know, truth is true in all continents and all people and all things. Truth is truth. So I hope it's all love. But these near death experience YouTube videos, I'll send them to you guys. But they're dope. Gives me good hope. We're just
Well,
borrowing some time right now in this meat suit.
Yeah. Speaking of extraterrestrials and the uncertainty of death, that weaves nicely into the community question that I have for you guys today. And this is from Fonzo159. How do you deal with the fear of the unknown?
Ooh, man.
well, I can start this one off. Being a fighter and operating in that space, like right before you take that walk, the biggest fear and what brings the anxiety and kind of what trumps the training and all the things that you positively told yourself is just not knowing what's going to be on the other side and not knowing how you're going to feel after the fight. And I've had small practices of just kind of getting used to just going into it. I've always told myself that I may be a little nervous, I may be a little bit afraid at first, but no matter what I'm facing, no matter how crazy it is, I'm always able to handle it when it's happening. And I feel like we have the tendency to kind of get our mind thinking about how we're going to feel based on how we're feeling at that present moment. But when you're in the present moment, you can handle anything. And just being cognizant of that when you got to think about the unknown, it gives you a little bit of peace, and it gave me a little peace just knowing that no matter what happens, when it's time, I'm going to be ready.
Mm. Yeah, I've heard this question recently by a few people of the unknown. In a Qigong class the other night, a lady said she'd like to control not knowing, not having knowledge and knowing what's next, or being able to know and what the future holds. And for me, in the present moment, and what I've been working on is being in moments of joy. And even like this is joyful. I get to see you three and we get to sit and talk. Like when I'm in this presence, and you mentioned it, Rashad, you're so present in that moment of getting in ready to go in the ring. You can't think of anything else. You have no room for fearing the unknown because you don't really care what the unknown is. Because right now I'm sitting here at a park bench. There's leaves around. It's cold. Winter's coming. And it's like, I feel good right now. I'm enjoying every minute. And so it's becoming present and becoming okay with the present. And it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot to not be somewhere else or thinking about something else or what I'm doing this weekend or what am I going to eat for dinner. Instead, I'm just sitting here trying to stay warm right now and do this sweet Suga Snake Takes. And that takes away my fear of the unknown or fear of what's happening next. And I sent you, Dale, a picture of that plant that was in a cornfield. And I was like, this plant knows more than everybody, knows more than you and everyone else. And when you said, why do I think so? I said, because that plant knows how to grow. It knows how to die. It knows how to regrow. It knows how to have a beautiful flower. It was a type of a hibiscus. And I was like, that plant doesn't care about anything but what it's genetically disposed to do. And it knows more than us because it doesn't know too much, it just knows what it needs to know. So knowing what's happening in the present moment is what helps me escape the fear of the unknown.
Yeah, not a lot of overthinking, and usually I don't answer these, but I want to answer this one because this has become really important to me in the last couple of weeks, and we could dive into this in an episode lately or later on or whatever. But the idea of mental health, my mental health has been a little shaken lately, and I've needed something to get grounded and get back to it, and it goes into fear, and the fear of the unknown and whatnot, and all these things I can't control that I'm trying to control that maybe aren't going my way that create fear, like because I'm not controlling it. I'm starting to give that up to a higher power, whatever that means to you. That doesn't need to be, that needs to be whatever it is to you. But for me to come into my yurt and pray daily, for me, I have to say the word pray instead of meditate, because prayer is a lot different than meditation in my mind. They're incredibly similar, but the idea of prayer for me has become giving it up to a higher power to then help control all the unknowns, all the things that we can't know the outcome to, and whatever that might be. And building a relationship with that is a deep knowing that there's something bigger and badder in control has helped calm me down quite a bit and calm down a lot of my fears, because I'm coming to the acknowledgement that I don't know everything and I don't need to know everything. And if I believe in a God that loves me, then all the things that I would mislabel as a human are actually my highest and best good. And so the things you don't know, maybe try giving them up to a higher power. So I just want to say that because that's been on my mind a lot lately, and it's felt good to pray. So throw that
I
in
want
there.
For you,
to.
Jolly D.
There's a Kierkegaard quote: "The function of prayer is not to influence God, but rather to change the nature of the one who prays." And I like that. I like that quote because you just described it, to a degree there, Dell. Like, you're giving up to a higher power, and that's having this impact on you, even independent of the circumstances being the same. And yeah, I think it's just an interesting way to think about it, because prayer is often, couched in this notion of I'm hoping to get something from this, entity, and I think it can be, related to from a different perspective.
It's a great quote. Say it again one more time.
It is: the function of prayer is not to influence God, but rather to change the nature of the one who prays. Soren Kierkegaard.
Very nice.
Beautiful.
I like that.
Great way to wrap up this fun episode of the unknown. So thank you for the quote, Mike. Snake, thank you for joining us outside in the chilly cold. And Rashad, Thanks for gutting it out on your high rise overlooking the ocean and 75-degree weather. You're the man.
You better be getting in that water soon, man.
Oh, I'm about
Oh,
to. I'm about to. I woke up at 5 a.m. to go to the beach
yes,
Oh, wow.
and just sit.
yes, lovely.
All right, y'all.
Say some
Peace out.
say some prayers for the world. Peace, love, and
Absolutely.
mushrooms.
See you guys.